Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Made to Order a la Orden. I'm Chef Z, and today we're doing something completely differently because, as you guys can tell, we're not in my kitchen at all. In fact, we're in my living room, and that's because we're doing the Hispanic Heritage Month tag, which was started by Rocio from Risas Rizos, and I'll be sure to link her video down below. And pretty much what Rocio did is that she came up with 10 questions surrounding your Hispanic heritage as a way to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September 15th to October 15th. Now, when I was watching her video, I instantly became inspired because I'm super proud of being Latina and super proud of my Hispanic heritage. So I knew right then and there that I had to do this tag. And also, it's just a great way for you and I to get to know each other better because this is the first time that you guys are seeing me outside of the kitchen, and you guys are always asking me some pretty awesome questions on my social media. So here I am. So we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, hashtag, and we're also getting to know each other. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into these questions. Okay, so the first question is pretty much, what's the most embarrassing moment that you had as a kid surrounding your Hispanic heritage? And I have to say that my most embarrassing moment in reference to my Hispanic heritage didn't necessarily happen when I was a kid, but it did happen when I was a lot younger. So to give you guys some context, I'm from Queens, New York. I'm straight up from the hood, and I went to this awesome private school in Connecticut, and I was literally plucked up out the hood and put into Connecticut. And so pretty much Dominicans love to drink this drink in the morning, and it's called mori soñando. And what that translates is to die drinking. Now you're thinking, okay, so what? It's a drink. What's the big deal? Okay, I find out really quickly that this drink is mixing milk, orange juice, and sugar together, and it is heavenly. It is so delicious, so normal to me. But when I was in this school, it was not normal to anybody. And let me tell you, people used to snicker and they used to look at me and they used to be like, ew, what is that drink? Now, when I tell you I was uber proud and couldn't nobody tell me nothing about my mori soñando. So when people give me these harsh looks, I felt so tried. So I would tell them like, hey, this is an awesome drink. You don't know what you're talking about, whatever. So that worked, I want to say for like my first week at school. And then I started realizing that everyone was giving me these looks, like everyone, and everyone was saying things. So then I started to kind of become self-conscious, and then it started to become embarrassing to the point where like I would like go off to the corner and mix my orange juice and milk and sugar, hoping that nobody would see it because I was getting so tired of people, plegando cara, meaning putting on a face because I was making this drink. And I'll tell you this, I had some really awesome friends, in high school, and they were really quick to be like, listen, don't listen to them, drink your drink. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. And I did. And then, like, after a while, I really stopped caring about people snickering when I made my drink. And I want to say it took me like about a month or two to just make it and just be proud. So, like, the next time, like, I would mix it right there in front of everyone. And if somebody was like, oh, I'd be like, so what? You don't know what you're missing. Okay, so the second question is about what is one of those tools that your mom used to discipline you growing up? And that's pretty easy. That's the chancleta. I mean, you cannot grow up Hispanic and not get hit with the chancleta, which is also known as a Chinese slipper or a chancla, depending on where you're from. Okay, so the third question is about what's something about your culture that you want to learn more about? And I have to say that one of the things I definitely want to learn more about is about my Afro roots, both in my Cuban side and my Dominican side. And I've done a pretty good job of opening up a history book and educating myself, but you can never learn enough. And it's something that I make a very conscious effort to learn because I find that, unfortunately, one of the ugly sides about the culture is the rampant racism. And it makes me so mad because, like I said before, if you just open up a history book and just educate yourself a little bit, you would know that we are all part of the African diaspora, and it's such a beautiful thing, and it's a thing that I just love learning more and more about each day. So the next question is there a Latin American country that you want to visit? And I have to say there is a Latin American country that I want to visit, and I'm so excited because I'm actually visiting this country this weekend. And you guys can probably guess, maybe not, but that country is Cuba. I am half Cuban. I've never been to Cuba and I've been dying to go. And I finally have the opportunity to go. And I'm actually going there for about 3 weeks and visiting a bunch of different cities and interacting with the Cuban people, my people. And again, so excited. But I feel like that doesn't really count because I'm doing that this weekend. And another country that I definitely want to visit is Costa Rica. I used to, one of my old coworkers is from Costa Rica, and every time she left away on holiday, she would post up all of her pictures on Instagram, and I would like them and be like, oh my God, I have to go there. So after I visit Cuba, the one that's number one on my list is Costa Rica. So the next question is, who is your favorite Hispanic hero? And I have to say that hands down, that is Junot Diaz. Before cooking became a passion of mine that I just couldn't resist and I had to pursue, I was actually an aspiring writer. That's what I went to college for. And to an extent now, it's what I still love to do. But I have a little bit of a writer's block, so I haven't done it in the last few years. But nonetheless, Junot Diaz, to me, he is a literary rock star. Like, I'm not even kidding. I fangirl for him. Again, he's just a voice of the people. I remember reading, This Is How You Lose Her, and my mind was blown. And then I went and read the Oscar Wilde book, The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, and life was changed. And I have to, shout out to La Casa Sol bookstore and to Aurora. It's a bookstore that's no longer around, but she does have an online store. And it was through her that I was able to meet Junot Diaz, not once, but twice. And my best friend went to MIT, and she used to just like talk about like Junot, like, yeah, that's my homie. And I used to get so jealous because, again, I just think he's amazing. And again, he's the voice of the people, and that's my Hispanic hero. Next question is, what is the moment that you were most orgullosa of being a Latina? And I have to say that moment was when I graduated from high school. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, I went to a private school in Connecticut, and I came from a really bad neighborhood in Queens, New York. And growing up in a bad neighborhood, like, people pretty much tell you that you're not going to be anything, you're not going to become anything, you're pretty much just going to, like, the hood is going to eat you up alive. It's pretty much the message that I got growing up. And that was really disheartening. And let me tell you, I was a kid that, I was kind of the odd kid because I was such a bookworm, and I still am. I always have my nose in a book. I love reading, I love writing, I was nerdy. I was the awkward kid because I was always the really tall kid with the braces and the really big hair. And meanwhile, I was such a studious student, and yet you're getting all these negative messages from the people in the neighborhood to even some teachers. And when I graduated from high school, and such a good high school at that, I felt so accomplished in that moment. It was like, look, Ma, I made it. But not only that, it's like, look at you guys, look at everyone else. Like, all of you guys who said that I wasn't going to do anything and I wasn't going to amount to anything. Here I am, standing on stage, getting my high school diploma, and going off to college. So that's one of my proudest moments. So this next question is probably my favorite question because what is your most favorite recipe from your abuela? And as you guys know here on my channel, my grandmother is such an inspiration to me. If you guys haven't guessed, my grandmother is unfortunately no longer here with us, so may she rest in peace. But yeah, she's my inspiration. She is my life. She is my everything. And I share so many of her recipes here on my channel, and some of them I do tweak. So it's actually really hard to pinpoint what is my favorite recipe from Abuela, but I have to say, if I had to choose one, it would actually be mondongo. And some of you, I know some of you out there who know what mondongo is probably just cringed, and I don't care, but I love that dish. And what it is tripe, and it is a stew slash soup. It's really good, and I just have so many memories of when my grandmother used to make this dish. Like, for example, and I'm not even kidding, I honestly got. So my grandmother used to make this dish, and she used to make it in this huge, una olla grandísima, like un caldero así. And I had this uncle, my aunt's husband. He used to come all the way from Boston. I'm not kidding. He used to jump on the phone and be like, oye, que la doña hizo un mondongo, vamos para allá, para Nueva York. I'm not even, translation. He used to get on the phone and say, hey, mama just made some mondongo, we out. We're going to New York, we out. We're going to eat some mondongo. And again, that is my favorite dish. And I miss her every single day. And that is the dish that just immediately invokes my grandmother. And if I'm around my mom, I'm not even kidding. Sometimes we'll make the dish ourselves and we cry when we eat it because it just makes us miss mama so much more. Okay, so this next question is again having to do with your childhood, and it is about what is the artist that reminds you most of your childhood or takes you back? I cannot choose one. There are two, and I listen to these two artists all the time, and I grew up in the 90s. And so enough with the suspense. Okay, so the first artist is Fulanito. Any of you guys who listen to merengue, y'all know who Fulanito is. And when that beat drops, and you hear Fulanito presente. Okay, I might have to like play the audio for that because I probably did a terrible job at that. But anyways, you know when you heard that song, then the beat drops, like everybody just starts dancing. I mean, it was at every single family party growing up, sweet 16s, weddings, you name it, it was there. And then the second artist is DLG, which stands for Dark Latin Groove. And the lead singer has a voice. Oh my god! And I remember falling in love with salsa listening to DLG because my favorite song is Juliana. And then I cannot sing. I'm tone deaf, so I'm not even gonna do it to you guys. But no, when that beat drops, that's another one that like people. You can be in the middle of eating, and you can have a drink, and you just put it down, go to the dance floor, y comienza así. So yeah, those are the two artists that bring me back to my childhood. Okay, so the next question is, what is a piece of history that had a profound impact on your heritage or culture? And that is for sure the Cuban Revolution. As I mentioned before, I'm half Dominican and half Cuban, so it's just a mix of all things good in the Caribbean. No, but the Cuban Revolution displaced a bunch of Cubans, and a lot of people left, and some people stayed. So it's kind of, you had one people on one side of the river and other people on the other side of the river being the Atlantic Ocean, of course. No, it really just changed everything. And it hasn't been until recently that people have been able to go back to Cuba and visit Cuba. And even for people who didn't leave, right when the revolution hit, like it's been such a strain. It's been a strain on my family. And you just hear so many stories, and Cuba has just become this kind of elusive place that you hear is stuck in the 50s. And I know that there are a lot of myths around there, and I'm super, like, again, I mentioned before, I'm going there this weekend, and I'm so excited, but that has hands down had the most effect growing up because, again, that was just a whole side of me, a whole half of me that I didn't really know physically because I couldn't go to Cuba. And the closest thing I had to a Cuban community outside of my father was Miami. And not to say that Miami is great because I love me some Miami, but again, being able to go to the land, a conocer la tierra, that is something truly special. And again, it just had a lasting effect. Okay, so the last question is, what is one piece of your culture that you want to pass down to your kids? And I will have to say that initially I would say the food, but being that I'm such a foodie and I love to cook, and so does the rest of my family, I figured that they'll already be getting that from me. But I guess outside of the food, which is a given, what I definitely want to pass down is the language. I have a young sister. She just turned 13, and she doesn't really speak Spanish the way that I do because she's just growing up in a different era. And I personally love the way that my boyfriend and I, shout out to Bay, hey, he's behind the camera. He's also Dominican, except he's full Dominican, and I love the way that he and I are able to communicate with each other in language. So we weave English and Spanish out all the time, but in a very particular way. Because we grew up as first-generation Americans, our parents are not from this country, and they came to this country, fairly later on in their lives. So they were very much close to the land in DR and spoke Spanish. The way we grew up speaking Spanish is the way they kind of speak Spanish. So we both kind of have these really thick accents. Just the way we speak. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like you can learn Spanish one way in school, and yay, that's good. I'm not knocking it at all. But then there's the other way, and there's the way that you learn it in the house that is just so rich in culture, and that's what I want to pass down to my kids, because again, they could pick up a book and learn Spanish at school, and that's, you know, great, but I want to pass down those nuances, those certain terms or certain pronunciations that when you hear, you're like, yep, those my people, I can hear it. That's what I really, really want to pass down to my kids. So there you have it, guys. That is the hashtag Hispanic Heritage Month tag that Rocio passed down, which I had so much fun filming for you guys. So I do hope you guys enjoyed that. Comment below if you have any questions on anything you've seen today or heard today, or if there's anything that you want to know more about. Let me know if you like this video, if you want me to make more videos where we're just kind of sitting down and talking and getting to know each other. I encourage you guys to do the tag, whether you have a YouTube channel, you know, go ahead and make a video, or if you want to just answer these questions on social media, be sure to tag me and I'll list all my social media information somewhere here, whether I put it here or down below, whatever have you. I haven't really figured out where I'm going to put it yet today, but that information will be there. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and come back next week when I have an all new video. And if you haven't checked out any one of my other cooking videos, make sure you do that on your way out. And of course, I also have a blog, so check that out as well. Alright, so again, until next week, I'm Chef Z, y buen provecho.